Hey, welcome to the table. So I've had several errata videos I've created along the way of making this particular series. I am on my fourth playthrough at the moment of this recording. So if you are looking for the cleanest playthrough, jump to the fourth one. If you would like to see all of the journey and rules explanations, because there's the thing, the fourth playthrough doesn't talk about the rules as much as the other ones do, because by then, I'm assuming everybody's watched my other playthroughs and learned the rules through those. But please, if you want the cleanest playthrough, the fourth one would be it. And there's only one rule in this errata video that I missed in the fourth playthrough, but I catch it about 3/4 through 1942. Okay? I thought this game was absolutely insanely hard. And after going through this errata that I'm going to go through, these are the things that I made mistakes throughout the playthroughs. The fourth one, like I said, only one rule that you're going to hear was missed in the fourth playthrough. The fourth playthrough is very clean. But that one rule is what made 1942 an easier campaign to play. 1942 is very difficult with the way I was doing the rules, and I was making it a lot harder on myself. So I want to go through these and consolidate all my errata videos. I currently have 3 of them out there, and I would like to make one. So one of the viewers is awesome, and he actually made a list for me. And so let's go. The first one, the U.S. has an engaged battle plan. This one. This says adjust the battle duration by 1. You'll see that I thought that I applied that right away, but you have to wait until the end of the first battle turn to apply it. So you'll see, like, I tried to avoid a battle completely, because if there was only one battle turn for the entire battle, I thought I could reduce it to 0. That's not quite how this works. This only works at the end of the first battle. So no matter what, you always play at least one battle turn, and then you apply this. And it's the same for the Japanese when they draw their version of this as well. And then the Japanese AI will either move it up if they have more forces than you, or down if they don't have more forces than you. And they count the planes in that situation, like the carrier planes. They'll count those. So that's the first mistake you'll see me make. The next one, when drawing the Japanese battle plans, so when it's the Japanese turn and they draw the battle plans, so let's say they're supposed to draw 2. So I would draw 2, and then before the next combat round, I put them back in the cup and then drew 2 again. You're not supposed to put them back in the cup until after the battle's over, or if the cup's empty. So during the course of the battle, if there's 3 battle turns and I'm drawing 2 per turn, whatever I draw just goes into a pile and doesn't go back in the cup until the battle's over. So that's another one that you'll see me make along the way. Next, Hawaii. Hawaii is a defeat if any Japanese land forces survive the battle. So even if you still have land forces on the battle, as soon as this objective marker flips, because you don't have complete control of Hawaii, it's an automatic loss of the game. And I think you're going to see where I thought I still had a chance to take Hawaii before the end of the year. So they landed troops, but they didn't fully win. And then I was able to take them back the next round. It doesn't work that way. Hawaii is super critical. And if you allow them to land forces in Hawaii and you don't kill them all, it's an automatic loss to your campaign. And you'll hear me talk about it in the videos, but attacking Hawaii is very possible in 1942. And they first attack Midway, and then once Midway falls, Hawaii's next. So Hawaii will definitely get attacked in 1942. You can count on it. So the next one is what happens when an order gets changed to a hold order And Dan Burson actually clarified this one. So, for example, let's say you get an order to do a withdrawal. You're going to see me deliberate over this because that order only advances this particular supply track by 1. But if you can't do the order, it says to do a hold order. But if you look at the way the rules are written, it'll tell you to do a hold order and then it'll say advance it by 1. Like the next sentence after it says do a hold order. It's just a bad placement of the sentences. What it's trying to tell you is if you do this order, advance it by 1. If you had to do a hold order, because sometimes you know, when it says move 1 closer to Japan and you're already in Japan, then you're supposed to do a hold order instead. So if you're forced to do a hold order, then you advance it by 4. So if you ever see me deliberate or do it the wrong way, just ignore me. And when you're playing your game, anytime you have to change an order to a hold order, advance by 4. Do it confidently because that's the way it's supposed to be. All right, next. Marine units automatically go to their foxholes. So when units land off a transport, they go to beaches first after the first round, and then after the second round, they go to the foxholes, and only on the third round can they actually participate in the battle. Well, Marines, if they're on a transport, they go straight to the foxhole. They skip the beach step. So I forgot to do that on my turn, and you'll see me make that mistake. I don't think I fixed that until the 4th playthrough, in fact. Next. Oh, this one's a doozy. Let me find it real quick. And of course now I'm not finding it. Well, that one would be a good idea. Okay. There's a lot of the battle plans that have this nomenclature. +3, +2. You're going to see that I thought that +3 applied to the anti-air and the +2 applied to the naval guns. That's not the case. The +3, +2 is for both. And then this is the superscript. So what's basically saying, so let's say you had an anti-air value of 1. You would need to roll a 1 or less in order to hit. Well, this is saying add +3, +2 to that. So now it's a 4-2. So if I roll a 4 or less, I do 1 hit. If I roll a 2 or less, I do 2 hits. That's what this is saying, and this number applies to both the anti-air and the naval guns. You're going to see me do this wrong through at least a couple of the playthroughs. 4th playthrough has this corrected. Okay, next. Oh, this is a big one, a big mistake that I made. Just give me a second, I'm just grabbing some troops here. Transports. They're gonna have a bunch of guys on them, right? You'll see me play, see, because this is a little bracket of 4. So when you do a hit, you have to hit like everything else that's a lower bracket until you get to the transport. And I know as you watch the playthroughs and learn the rules, that'll make more sense to you. Well, what I thought is that my ships, if I hit, made a hit, I can flip the transport to damaged, right? There's a damaged side, and then I can sink the transport, right? That's not how this works. I don't even know why they have a damaged side. That's what misled me, I think. But the way transports work is if you hit a transport, each of these guys are considered to be like on their own transport, like separate. So you just have one token to represent that. So every time a transport gets hit, you're flipping the guy on the transport over. And then, so you would need to do 6 hits to this transport to kill all 3 of these guys. So you would treat it just like you're damaging them if they were on land. But obviously they're still at sea. But yes, every hit to a transport just hits one of the units on that transport, and that's it. So the best way to imagine it is you actually have 3 transports, and then yes, you sunk one, and then you sunk the other, and then you sunk the other. So it takes 6 hits to do. That's the way to imagine a transport. And I definitely did that wrong. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I'm on my 4th playthrough, because I think you'll see that I defended Hawaii using that method, and I really should have lost the game. So I went and I canceled the rest of my playthrough and started over. So that was a doozy for me, and it definitely makes this game harder. So don't underestimate how hard that is. And then this last one, I'm sorry. Yeah, you'll see that the U.S. So the U.S. only has control of an objective if a unit is there and nobody else is there. So in this situation, you'll see, I think, in my very first playthrough that I moved the troop somewhere else, thinking that I still held this, right? Because since I was in control of the island and they never came and took the island, that this was still my objective. Nope, the moment I move a troop away and leave this empty, this flips to Japan. So that's a important rule. You'll see me in the first playthrough make that mistake. And then the last one, which I even missed in the fourth playthrough, but I caught it about halfway through, 3/4 of the way through, is as you watch the playthrough, I'm going to teach you how to do move orders for Japan. So Japan has their own, they do Japanese orders, right? This step here. And the basic gist of it is that I'm going to roll a die, and let's say I rolled a 5. I'm going to check this chart, and if the resupply marker is here, I'm going to look at 1942. I'm going to add +10, so that becomes a 15. So then my move order is 15, right? That's how move orders work. However, if there's an objective, the first order that's done at that location is an automatic hold. You don't even roll the die. So a hold order is this order, and that's going to cause this to move up by 4, and it's going to cause a fleet to stay, and then an infantry and 3 land-based aircraft. So if you look at this particular situation, this first fleet would hold, meaning it doesn't move, and then this infantry would hold, and then 3 of these aircraft would hold. So then I would still roll move orders for what's left. So this guy would still get a move order, and so would this. This is single-handedly, in my opinion, what made me have to do 4 playthroughs to get this game beat. This, without knowing this, and actually just rolling dice for everybody, made the game so much harder because the fleets are so random in terms of moving around the board, and they're not random anymore. If they're at an objective, they're going to stay at that objective. They're not going to move. And so you have this concept called scouting. See right here, the U.S. scouting, where you get to see what kind of movements the ships are going to do. Well, I was paying scouting points to see where this ship was going to go because I was rolling move orders for it. I know where it's going to go. It's going to stay right there. And so now I only have to pay points to see where this ship's going to go. That dramatically changes the game. Same concept here. There's another objective. This ship is going to hold. These 3 planes are going to hold with it, and so will that. So now only these guys and that ship is going to do a move order. And so once you know that and understand that, first of all, that makes your scouting points more valuable. And secondly, you can do what I call pinning, because I like to pin these ships and know where they're going, right? It helps you to mitigate the game board so much that, that information is useful. And you're going to see through like all my playthroughs, including some of the fourth, where I didn't know I was allowed to do that, or I didn't know that that's how the rules worked. So very large mistake, and it took me so very long to find it. But please accept my apologies there. And now, as you enjoy the playthroughs, if you just keep this particular errata video in mind, you'll understand when I'm making the mistake to just laugh at me, and just know that when you're playing your game, you'll do it the right way. And I don't think any of these mistakes ruin the teaching or the other things that you're going to see. I do think, though, that this very last rule I just explained does change the difficulty level quite a bit in my favor. So I'm very pleased about that, because I thought this game was way too hard, because the ships were so dang random in terms of where they're moved. You can't predict where they're going to be, and they were constantly taking objectives where I wasn't at and stuff like that. Now I think I can have a lot more control over where they're going to be, and that changes the game in my favor. Yeah, you'll hear me whine about how hard this is quite a lot, but now I'm jumping with joy because it's a little bit more balanced. Anyways, that's it. As always, thank you for joining me at the table, and stay awesome, stay healthy and safe, and I hope you enjoy the playthroughs.